pound cake gets its name because it's traditionally made of a pound of flour, a pound of butter, a pound of sugar, and a pound of eggs. Well, it sounds great since it really lives up to its name, pound cake. Surprisingly enough, the traditional recipe doesn't make the best pound cake. I think we can do a little better if we play around with some of the ratios. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a moist and tender pound cake that will surely impress anyone that you share it with. To get started, grease your loaf pan with a stick of cold butter, or you can even use the wrapper from your softened butter. Then add a spoonful of flour, cover it with plastic wrap, and give it a good shake. Once your flour has covered the entire surface of the pan, dump out the excess and set aside. For our dry ingredients, in a medium bowl, add 240 grams of all-purpose flour, 6 grams of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Whisk all of your dry ingredients together for about a minute so that everything is well combined, and then set aside. In a mixing bowl, add 300 grams of softened, unsalted butter and whip up your butter by itself for a few minutes. Once you've whipped some air into your butter, add 270 grams of sugar. Cream your butter and sugar together for a few minutes or until it's lighter in color. The change in color indicates that there are air bubbles forming, and this is what will be responsible for the leavening in your cake. Once you've finished creaming your butter and sugar, add 5 large room temperature eggs, one at a time. If you're using a stand mixer, scrape down the sides of the bowl between adding each egg. After mixing in all of the whole eggs, add 2 extra egg yolks. The additional egg yolks will make the cake more rich, but they also contain emulsifiers that will allow the batter to hold onto more water and fat, which will yield a more moist cake. For the remaining wet ingredients, add 120 grams of sour cream, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. After mixing in all of the wet ingredients till they're combined, add in the flour that we pre-mixed earlier. Using a silicone spatula, you want to fold in your dry ingredients until they're just combined. You want to be careful here not to go too far, as if you overmix the batter, you'll develop the gluten in the flour and this will lead to a tough cake. So once you reach the point where you're no longer seeing lumps of flour in your batter, stop and transfer your batter to your prepared loaf pan. Give your loaf pan a little shake side to side and use a silicone spatula to smooth out the top. Then place your pound cake onto the center rack of an oven that has been preheated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 165 degrees Celsius using the convection setting if you have it. Bake your pound cake for 65 to 75 minutes. You'll know your pound cake is done when a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean, or a thermometer reads 210 degrees Fahrenheit or 99 degrees Celsius. Just like any cake, we want to pull out our pound cake the moment it is finished cooking to prevent it from drying out. After about 20 minutes of cooling, you'll notice that the pound cake is starting to pull away from the sides of the pan. Go around the edge of the pan using a knife to break away any stuck bits of pound cake. Even with the butter and flour coating, it can still be hard to remove the pound cake from the pan. You can use a knife or spatula to pry on the pound cake to help release it. Now, because we can't reach the bottom using a knife or spatula, it can help to give the pan a good shake to help release the bottom of the cake from the pan. After you've successfully broken your pound cake free from the pan, transfer it directly to the cooling rack and allow it to finish cooling until it reaches room temperature. Once it has finished cooling, it's ready to eat, especially if you like your pound cake to have a little crunch to it. So if you eat your pound cake the same day that you make it, you'll have a crunchy exterior, which is something that you'll never get with store-bought pound cakes. But personally, I think pound cake tastes best when it's left to chill in the fridge overnight. Next, we're going to macerate some strawberries to go along with our pound cake. For your strawberries, cut off the green tops, slice them thinly, and then place them into a bowl. For every slice of pound cake, you'll need about 2 medium-sized strawberries. For 4 medium-sized strawberries, I used a heaped tablespoon of sugar. You want to use just enough sugar to cover the outside of the strawberries, and it's better to use less sugar than more sugar because our pound cake will already be sweet. After adding your sugar, give your strawberries a quick toss and let them sit for 15 minutes, and the sugar will draw out the juices from the strawberries. While the strawberries rest, we can make a small batch of whipped cream. In a bowl, add 120 grams of very cold heavy cream. It helps if you had your heavy cream in the freezer for about 5 to 10 minutes before whipping. Start your hand mixer on a low speed and slowly increase the speed as your cream thickens. If you use too high of a speed on your hand mixer too soon, you'll end up with small splashes of cream all throughout your kitchen. Once you've reached the soft peak stage, add in 10 grams of sugar. And just like with our strawberries, we don't want to add too much sugar because we want our cream to contrast with the sweetness of the pound cake. Continue whipping until you have slightly firm peaks, but be careful not to go too far because you'll end up with butter instead of whipped cream. It's really worth going the extra mile to prepare some sliced strawberries and whipped cream. On its own, the pound cake is quite sweet and rich, but the tartness of the strawberries and whipped cream really help balance things out. If you give this pound cake recipe a try, I'd really love to know how it turned out down in the comments. And as always, all ingredient amounts and their volumetric conversions can be found detailed in the description. If you like this video, please give this video a like, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel to see future videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.